All right, it has been 19 years since we got a new movie in the I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise, and 28 years since that original movie. You remember that original movie, right? They leave a man for dead, and then this maniac fisherman just goes on the loose, killing people, all that craziness. Well, yep, the time is finally here. We have a new movie in the franchise, a new sequel, technically. So, after all these years and all this internal hype for me personally, how was the return for the franchise? Well, let's talk about it. What is up, everyone? Welcome to Mad Blood. And first of all, let me know if you've seen the newest I Know What You Did Last Summer movie. Did you enjoy it? Are you a fan of this franchise? Are you kind of in the middle? Are you not a fan? Let me know. And I'm just going to go ahead and rip this one off like I'm waxing my chest, which I actually don't do because hell no, that would hurt so bad. But I am just going to start off this video by saying it. This movie was bad. It really is. And this was actually my most anticipated movie of 2025. And I know, kind of crazy, right? Especially after seeing the movie and all of that. But I wasn't expecting anything mind-blowing or groundbreaking or elevated cinema, anything like that at all. But I just thought this movie was one of the easiest movies to say, this is just going to be a lot of fun. Like, how could they mess this up? It's just going to be just a pure blast. Obviously, they messed this one up, and the trailers did have me really worried, but I tried to stay strong. Sadly, this movie is bad. I feel like there's no better word to describe this movie than just bad. I feel like it's on par with that I Know What You Did Last Summer Amazon Prime TV show that was canceled after one season, except for in this movie they throw in Ray and Julie, which is awesome to see them back, so that adds a little something to it. But honestly, there's a part of me that might actually like the show better than this new movie. I mean, guys, they actually had the lack of brain cells to add a true crime podcaster into the mix in this movie. For what seems like the 25th time we've seen that angle taken in a slasher movie in the last few years. It's like, come on, guys. Can we not think of anything else at all? On top of that, every time the killer, the fisherman, is around, they decided to come up with the brilliant idea of making T-Rex sounding footsteps sounds every time the fisherman is walking around, yet he's still somehow able to sneak up on all of his victims. I mean, literally everyone. And the reveal, oh my God, the reveal, guys, the reveal. And the characters, I mean, oh baby, the characters, yeah. Well, Matt, at least if all of that wasn't all that great in this movie, did we at least get some fun kills? Or at least one, maybe two, like tense, fun chase sequences? No, we didn't. Not at all. But yes, I'll dive a little deeper into that as this video goes along. And just a little heads up, this is actually going to be a spoiler-free review for all of you who have not seen the movie yet. If I muster up the willpower, I might do a spoiler video for the movie as well to go along with the tier lists and the ranking videos I already have coming for the franchise. So stay tuned for all of that. All right, now, yes, this is movie number 4 in the I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise. We sometimes try to forget that third movie ever existed, that straight-to-video movie, but still, the first two movies, all-time classic slasher movies. They're not elevated cinema. They're not anything that's, going to blow your mind as far as the script and the story and all of that, but just absolutely fun. Now, can I also just say how dumb the title of this movie is? Honestly, guys, so this is not a remake, even though everything in the trailers and pretty much everything in the movie feels like a remake. Okay, it's not a remake, all right? We're going with a sequel because we're keeping the first two movies, especially canon. All right, I understand that. And we're also bringing back Julie and Ray. Okay, I understand that as well. So why are we still calling it I Know What You Did Last Summer, which is exactly the same as the original movie? It's not necessarily, it's kind of a reboot, but it's basically a remake, but they're calling it a sequel. It's just a dumb title. And when it comes to this franchise, a lot of people consider this franchise, especially those original 2 movies, kind of a Scream ripoff. But for me personally, a big fan of this franchise, a huge fan of slasher movies just in general. If this is your first time around my channel, then you'll look around my channel and you will clearly see I'm a huge fan of slasher movies and this franchise. But this franchise, it's not a Scream ripoff. The original movie in this franchise especially, I don't think gets enough credit for really kicking off the next slasher boom that started after Scream in the late 90s and beyond. I think that movie was more of a straightforward slasher movie, thriller movie with a great story, great cast, just a hell of a lot of fun. Like I said, doesn't really get its flowers as much as Scream does for kind of revitalizing the genre in a lot of ways. So basically the premise of this new movie in the franchise, and yes, it's gonna sound pretty familiar, but the story goes like this. 5 friends accidentally cause this tragic accident, and they try to cover it up, and they try to just cover up any trace that this could potentially be linked back to them. And then 1 year later, a madman with a hook starts terrorizing them. And like I said, sound pretty familiar? But once they realize the killer is imitating that murder spree that happened back in 1997, they trace down the only survivors of that incident, Ray and Julie, to try to get their help to get out of this mess. So unlike the original, this big thing happens in the early stages of the movie, and the characters are immediately just hit with this conflict. And it's exactly like the first movie in a lot of different ways. It even shares a lot of similarities with some of the stuff you see in the TV show. But I'm sitting in my chair as I watch the early parts of this movie, and I'm just saying to myself and thinking in my head, I've seen this before, but done way, way better. First of all, the reactions just from the characters, they don't seem all that conflicted or shocked or just really all that genuine. Even the moments leading up to before the whole incident that's going to lead us into, I know what you did last summer, all of that. In the original movie, the stuff leading up to that was great. We get the pageant event. We get them drinking and partying. We immediately get to know our characters and their specific personalities done in a very short manner, but done very, very effectively, where us as an audience, we immediately know who they are and we immediately kind of know what they're about and what they're about to do. And then, of course, we get the whole moment at Dawson's Beach, a great moment at the campfire, sharing urban legend, ghost stories, all of that, really setting the mood for the rest of this movie. Whereas in this movie, no. We just start off with kind of this generic made for TikTok audience, kind of a party. Then we get a quick little incident, lackluster reactions from the characters with really no red herrings, kind of like Max in that original movie. A pretty solid red herring for the first little section of the movie. In this movie, there's really none of that. Yeah, there's some jump scares, but there's no great jump scares like I consider some of those in the first little part of the first movie, you know, especially with Ben Willis as they're putting him into the water and underneath the water. I think those jump scares are pretty damn fun. And then boom, we get the typical time jump that has happened throughout this franchise, of course. And after all of this, I was just kind of thinking to myself, man, I don't know, we're like 20 minutes into this movie so far, and this is not looking good. And like I said a second ago, they actually had the audacity to add a true crime podcaster into this movie. When it first showed up, I honestly thought it was a joke. I was like, have they ever seen a horror movie before in their entire life? They would have to know this is going to be the corniest, dumbest idea I could possibly think of if I was coming up with a script that I wanted to be even remotely unique and interesting. But no, not at all. They're actually going this route. I mean, let me just think of some of the movies we've seen recently with true crime podcasters in them. Halloween 2018, Terrifier 3, the Scream TV show, stuff like that. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. It's like, guys, can we give it a rest? I understand that's popular on social media and that's a way to kind of bring some people into the audience. Maybe, sort of, but it's a dumb idea. Oh, and just a little cherry on top for me personally when it comes to the true crime podcasting angle. The name of the podcast that they go for in this movie is Live, Laugh, Slaughter. Okay, guys, let's just pause for a second. Let's go ahead and look at my YouTube banner I'm going to put here up on screen, which has been up on my channel for at least 2 years. Yes, it says Live, Laugh, Slash, which is just like a funny little parody that my brother came up with, who's my like graphic designer on the channel, made the logo, all that stuff, does some great work, but just something that he came up with as kind of like a funny parody on the home design shit. But I just want to throw it out there, guys. I had the name first, and I know it's not exactly the same, but damn it, I am putting my flag in the ground right now. But this podcaster is like the cliche of all cliches. You can clearly tell she's got like this whole like fake, edgy kind of a look and personality to her. It's just so dumb. And let's just go back 28 years for a second. Just remember how charming and how great of a setting Southport was in that original movie for a slasher movie like this, especially on the 4th of July with the fireworks and just the vibe of this small fishing village and all of that. You know, it's like you could just smell the hot dogs in the air. You can see the fireworks. It just felt so like Americana. And I get that this movie was not filmed in America. I don't really have a problem with that. It was mainly filmed in Australia. And I get the changes to the town. I get that, trying to erase kind of the memory of what happened before. I understand all of that. But the charm of Southport that we know and we love from that original movie especially, it is completely gone. And yeah, the fisherman, once again in this movie, they didn't really screw that up. I mean, he looks good once again. He's in the slicker outfit. He's using the hook. I do think the hook looks a little bit weird. It's like way too long for my taste, but that's kind of a tangent and a nitpick for another time. But yeah, the fisherman does look good. They kind of add this new little thing to it, sort of, where he's now using a spear gun occasionally. If you've seen the trailer, you know what I'm talking about. Not a great kill by any means. Not very memorable at all, in my opinion. But like I mentioned a second ago, the footstep sounds, making it sound like it's some T-Rex or Godzilla or something stomping around. Did they actually think that would make the scenes more intense? There's no way an entire production team actually thought that was a good idea with the sound engineers to make it sound like that. There's no way. And yeah, like I mentioned a second ago, on top of that, it makes even less sense how this fisherman is kind of teleporting and sneaking up on his victims when you add in sounds like that, which the fisherman is doing throughout this movie. Very sneaky at times, but yet he's the loudest motherfucker in this entire movie. On top of that, I really hated in this movie the whole trope of, okay, boom, he's right behind the victim. He kind of just teleports and appears there completely silently right behind them. I hate the trope of, let's just stand there with our hook as long as we need to until they turn around, not slash, not kill them. No, just wait. And then when they do turn around, inevitably he's going to miss every single time. And then it's going to start like a lackluster little short chase sequence until the inevitable death, probably at the end of that scene. That happens, I feel like, over and over and over. It's like, okay, once or twice, cool, but that trope is just kind of dumb. Kill him. Get it over with. And yet another very odd creative choice in this movie was they basically just remake Julie and Helen in this movie, even though, like I said, this movie is not technically a remake. It's a sequel. And yes, Julie is literally in this movie, but they go this whole dynamic of one of them's going to be blonde and kind of have a similar vibe to them. Like Helen, the other one's going to be a brunette who's going to be the one that's clearly distraught about everything happening. She's like a little bit nicer and all of that. And clearly, like, this is weighing on her, apparently. They're supposed to make us believe that, but they really put no effort really into that at all. Whereas in the original movie with Julie's character, you could definitely see that. I mean, she even looks kind of sick, that everything is just weighing on her so badly that it's actually affected her health. You know, she looks pale in that movie and obviously just looks like something is wrong. Her mom notices it. They have that whole conversation. She's like, "Are you on drugs, Julie?" You know, all of that. You can definitely tell she's failing out of school, all of that. Whereas in this movie, they really don't put any effort into really making us believe that this is weighing on the characters, other than maybe a line or two about like, yeah, we haven't really talked to you in the last year. And it's like, yeah, things have been kind of hard. Well, anyways, guys, you want to go and party? And it's like, wait, what? And as far as the characters go, like I mentioned a second ago, in that original movie, you get a clear vision of who these characters are. And they have a distinct personality about them, and their dynamic works very well with each other. And all of them, honestly, are amazing. in that first movie. Well, Rey is kind of just okay in the first movie, much better in the sequel though. But Ryan Phillippe absolutely crushes it as like the asshole jock guy with like a very little moral compass to him, very spoiled and definitely unhinged at times. I just think he crushes it in that role. And Jennifer Love Hewitt is just like the epitome of an amazing final girl in those first two movies. Somebody like you care about, you can kind of empathize with. She's clearly like very nice to pretty much everybody around her, very likable, beautiful, all of that. And then Sarah Michelle Gellar as Helen. I mean, an all-time great slasher movie character. She gives us one of the greatest chase scenes in slasher movie history, in my opinion, but she's just so feisty, but in a perfect kind of way. But in this movie, it feels like this whole, okay, everyone's gonna get a trophy in this movie. That type of an approach to character building in this movie. We don't want to make you hate or love any of the characters too much. You know, we're gonna have like the vulnerable nice girl doing her thing. We're going to have the spoiled girl. We're going to have the guy who's kind of an asshole jock kind of a thing. But none of them, though, are going to be like clearly definable in either direction too much. Just bland as fuck. And yes, Jennifer Love Hewitt is back again as Julie James in this movie, one of my favorite slasher final girls of all time. And yeah, she's good in this. Like, she does a fine job. There's no complaints from me about her in this movie, but they don't really give her character a lot to do. And yeah, the same goes for Freddie Prinze Jr. as Rey in this movie as well. I think his performance is fine in this movie. I'll talk more about his character in my spoiler video, but yeah, I think he does a serviceable, solid job, just like Jennifer Love Hewitt does. But I gotta go back to what I said earlier. This movie is basically just a remake, but with a new TikTok generational type of feel to it. And then they just randomly throw in Rey and Julie as basically like a slap in the face to millennial fans of the original two movies. It's like a little fucking dog treat as they throw us in a cage and pat us on the head and say, oh, good boy. So do we get fun kills in this movie? No, not really. Now, this franchise has never really been about the kills. It's never really been about the gore or anything like that. I mean, Max's kill in that original movie that they added in post-production is a great kill. I really like that, very gruesome. And we do get some gruesome kills throughout this movie. And in the second movie, they do crank up the gore a little bit, but this franchise has been more about the moments and the tension and the chase sequences and things like that. I mean, Helen's kill, that's an all-time classic, one of the greatest like chase sequences in slasher movie history, in my opinion, really, really fun. But in this movie, we get none of that. And yeah, this new movie is a little bit gorier than the first two movies, but honestly, there's not a single kill in this movie that really stood out to me. And I'm going to mention one kill in particular right now that did kind of bother me a little bit. And it's a bit of a nitpick, but it just is a microcosm of this movie in a lot of different ways. So on the finality of this particular kill, we really zoom in on a close-up shot of what happens at the end of it. And you can clearly see it's just CGI blood, which would have been a very, very easy kill to execute practically. And if they would have pulled that kill off practically, most of all, it would have shown me that this production knows the roots of this subgenre, which is really the dedication to practical gore as much as possible in a slasher movie. We love that even in modern movies, the ones where you can feel the most passion behind the production, the most just passion for this subgenre are the ones that try to really push that envelope, go the extra mile when it comes to practical stuff, instead of just making this digital computer looking gory slasher movie. Now, I know that some people have a problem with new movies coming out in horror franchises. They're like, just put it to rest. Enough is enough. We've got some great movies already in the franchise. Just put it to bed. I'm the type of person, I love it when new movies and franchises come out. Even if they're a complete miss, just go for it. Whether it's a remake or a reboot or a requel, whatever it is, just go for it. I'll check it out and I'll hope that it's good. But with this movie, you know, I appreciate that we got a new movie in this franchise, of course. I love that. But after watching this movie, it kind of makes me think, what was even the point in making this movie? I mean, it doesn't really do anything at all to really push the franchise forward. It's virtually, like I said a second ago, just a remake of the original movie in every single sense of the word. but everything in the movie is done worse than the first two movies. And yes, like I mentioned a second ago, this is obviously a spoiler-free review, but boy, oh boy, that reveal. I mean, really, what can I say? It was stupid. It felt forced. It was cliche. It was anticlimactic as hell and just flat out boring. I do respect the fact that they took a risk at the end of this movie, but for somebody like me who's a big fan of this franchise, it just felt corny. It really did. It just felt corny to me, especially when you factor in the motivation for the killer. Now, Ben Willis's motivation in those first two movies wasn't exactly mind-blowing or anything like that, but there was still something about it that felt mean. It was this grizzled old fisherman on a revenge tour to absolutely brutally massacre and torture these kids, and it just worked. So yeah, guys, huge disappointment for me, and honestly, my bar wasn't set that high for this movie. I feel like I just wanted it to be fun. I didn't need a crazy story or anything like that, but I just needed some decent tension, some fun chase sequences, a fun killer, and just, you know, sort of some effort put into the story, maybe just a little bit. I mean, honestly, I've been kind of getting humbled this year because a lot of the movies on my most anticipated list for this year, 2025, have been a letdown, honestly, most of them. And I felt pretty good about a lot of them. But yeah, like I said, I've been kind of getting humbled this year because this shit has been stankin'. But with this movie, it's like, what are we doing here, guys? This is a slasher movie. The blueprint to make a solid slasher movie is on a silver platter for you. It's not like you're recreating the Sistine Chapel or something. Stop being overly corny. Let's actually put some effort into the chase sequences and the tension and the roller coaster ride that this franchise is known for. And let's sit down for a couple months and actually try to come up with a decent ending. Now, do I recommend seeing this movie? If you're a big fan of this franchise like I am, yes, definitely. And I hope you love it. I hope you have a much better time watching this movie than I did. I really, really do. But if you're not really already a big fan of this franchise, I mean, I would just wait until it hits streaming, honestly. There's a lot of things, and I already said this a little bit in this video, there's a lot of things that very much make this movie seem like a straight to streaming type of slasher movie. The quality of it, the ideas, the creative choices, the look of it, the kills, the characters, the acting, all of that is very much on par with a slasher movie that goes straight to Netflix or something like that. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of things in this movie that are on par with the I Know What You Did Last Summer TV show on Prime, which got canceled after one season. I mean, in this movie, though, you do have Ray and Julie added into it, which does elevate some things, definitely, without question, and also some of the stuff with the gore and with some of the fight sequences and stuff like that. You can tell there's a little bit of a higher budget in those sequences, but yeah, the quality of this movie, if you're not a huge slasher fan, if you're not a huge fan of this franchise, just wait until it hits streaming. All right, those are my spoiler-free thoughts on the newest I Know What You Did Last Summer movie. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the tier list ranking videos I have coming for this franchise, as well as the traditional ranking videos I do have coming and cooked up for this franchise as well. I think those will be a lot of fun. If you want some more videos from me right now, go ahead and check out one of these videos next to me. And also, guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like on it as well. All of my social media links are down below in the description if you want to follow me over there. But anyways, my name is Matt. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Really do appreciate it, and I will talk to you in the next one.